I'm Elsa. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the Appreciating Cultures and Ethnicities Club does. So Vanessa and I and a couple of friends started this club in, I would say, the beginning of our sophomore year of high school. We just noticed that there was a complete lack of a community for students of color at our school. For context, our school is about 90% white, so it's just very, we didn't feel like we felt like we belonged, and so we wanted to create that community. So it started off as just a club that was more of a community-based club, and so we had weekly meetings, and we were able to kind of form that bond of that friendship that we still carry to this day. And then we expanded into working with the administration and the faculty to create social justice initiatives within our school. And so we also work with the school committee. So the school committee has an anti-racism subcommittee, and so we work with them as well. And so, yeah, during this presentation, we're going to talk about the relevance of local Black activism, as well as current change making that we're doing within our school and within our community, and also what the future will bring within our school.
So, with this presentation, I just wanted to start off by saying, as a young person myself, I think that there's so much power in the youth. Like, I feel like we have so much untapped power, we have so much initiative and just an overall drive to do something. And so with all of that energy, I feel like the first step is finding the organization to do something with it. So as Elsa mentioned, we go to Mascononit. It's a predominantly white high school. And with that, you have so many people, like with the beginning stages of ACE Club, we had people saying, well, why do we need a club where these students can do something? Isn't it going to be small? Who's going to join it? Myself, I'm a child of immigrants, all right? I'm a Black girl. I'm a student. And when I go to these classrooms, I sit in the front or the back. I look around me left and right, and I see faces that don't look like mine, all right? I'm one of a handful of Black kids, all right? My hair looks different, my face looks different. The way that I go through my classes, talk to my teachers, sit in the cafeteria, it looks different. And I felt like I was isolated. Like, you feel that difference in your bones, especially as a young person who's constantly absorbing what you see around you. Like, you feel it, you really feel it in your bones. And that's why I say that our generation, especially as people of color, Black kids, we have a hunger to see ourselves represented in our communities, in the media, and in our classrooms and the spaces around us. And so one thing that I've really gotten to know as I've grown up and learned with our ACE Club is that visibility plays a huge part in understanding how and why people move through the spaces that they do. And so visibility, you might not know what I mean by this, but it's when you can see the change around you. You can see the people who you might not interact with every day, but they're there, and it's just a matter of finding them, reaching out, having a conversation. And so one of the things that I really personally wanted to accomplish through ACE Club is connecting these students of color who feel like they're in these like small groups on the outskirts of our school. And I wanted to create a space where people could come together, talk about their stories, share their experiences, good and the bad, and we can say, well, this is how we feel, what do we want to do about it? And I think that's the most important question. What do we want to do about it? And so I think that having that sense of place and beginning these conversations is the first step, and this process is continued by fostering that curiosity of what do we want to do, how can we do it? Let's reach out to some teachers, maybe some community officials, and create events where we can foster that sense of place and belonging and seeing ourselves in not only ourselves as students, but in the facets we want to explore in our futures. It's like if you want to be a teacher or a scientist or a politician, we don't always get to see like Black politicians like sharing the experience of living in a predominantly white institution or maybe an underfunded community. it's important to have these unique perspectives that really challenge the way that we move through the spaces that we do today.
So thank you, Vanessa. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit about what the ACE Club has done in the past few years. So very recently, around 2 weeks ago, we hosted Dr. Henry Turner, who's the principal of North High School, and he came and spoke to the whole entire student body, middle school and high school, about how to be an upstander in the community, and how the importance of celebrating diversity and not only recognizing it. And so that was a really important event for us to hold, and we were very excited that the administration was able to support us in that. And so we were very glad that we got that sense of recognition from our community. We also have worked with the Student Council to do Black History Month education and celebrations. And so last month we had a type of like information booth during lunch. So we were able to kind of spread awareness of Black history, Black excellence, and Black power within our community. It was very not spoken about. And so we had posters all around the school highlighting different Black people in history, and we were able to kind of just get that sense of awareness out because it wasn't really there before. And so we recognize that kind of what we do is the very first steps of everything. I think our club in general is really the first time anything relating to social justice has ever been talked about at our school. So whenever we talk to administrators or faculty, we always say that we are just laying down the foundation. We are doing the first steps, and it really needs to be carried through and carried out because we just don't have the time in the 4 years or really the 3 years to really build more of that community that we're really trying to do. So we're just laying down the foundation. And we've also held Juneteenth celebrations at our school, and so we did a movie type festival. It was a short film festival during one of our, I think it's called like M Block, so it's like a study period for the whole school. And so we displayed a series of short films focused around Black excellence. And this was a way to bring awareness of the Juneteenth holiday in general, but also just to show that diversity should be celebrated and Black excellence should be celebrated, and it just shouldn't be talked about in the sense of like social justice and talking about the negative aspects of Black history, and it should be celebrated as well. And so just to talk about some stuff that we've done specifically with the staff and the faculty, throughout the past few years, we have reached out to teachers and specifically to talk about lessons plans and how we can incorporate a more inclusive curriculum. We are very excited to know that I think the sophomore year English curriculum, they're restructuring it, and they're going to include now books and lessons that are more inclusive and have Black main characters that are not just focused on violence or something like that, which is usually what our curriculum does. So we're very excited about that. We've also hosted multiple open discussions with the faculty about issues that were important to us. So last year we held a discussion with the whole entire faculty about microaggressions and how it affects the student body. This year we held an open discussion with the faculty about the pressure to represent in classrooms and how we feel it's important that no student of color should be forced to represent their culture if they do not want to. And we are hoping to hold that discussion with the middle school faculty as well soon. And then just in general, we're trying to create just efforts to create school-wide engagement. So that just includes reaching out to students and teachers and just finding a way to create that community, and hopefully collaborating with the administration to create more groups and spaces for people to come together and talk about how they feel the school needs to improve. So next, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what the future will bring. So the first thing, accessibility is essential for self-discovery. We believe that if students of color are able to find the resources to explore themselves and their passions beyond the stereotypes and pressures that society puts on them, they will have a better sense of identity. I think it's important that everybody is able to explore themselves to the fullest, and I think students of color are not able to find those resources that they need to do that. And so I think it is a big part of this justice that we're talking about is providing those resources for them to do it themselves. And I I think that's really important.
And yeah, to the second point, that not only does representation change the lives of people who are seeing themselves in their community now, but it also helps people who are on the outskirts of that representation, you know? So I feel like when I see ourselves, like starting out as sophomores, we had so much energy, we wanted to put it into things. And so when we started having these events, reaching out to our like greater Masco community with the students, the staff, and also our local community, we really saw a shift in how people engaged with activism. I feel like there's so many different facets that comes under activism, but we really saw people wanting to be involved and wanting to do something to help and support the students of color who came to our school, right? So I feel like us showing that we really care about this community just as much as you. We live here, all right? We grew up here. We do music classes, we dance, we put on shows. We are a part of this community, and so why aren't we seeing ourselves? And I feel like the other like non-POC students and staff started to feel that energy and be like, that's right, why don't I see all the aspects of our community? And so we really gotten to see that change in spirit on how people interact with our drive to just have a more diversified Masco. And to the last point, going back to the youth, our generation is really becoming more active in engaging with diverse media and wanting to diversify the things that we interact with in our daily lives. Again, like I mentioned, we have so much energy and just a drive to do something with it, you know? And so, again, when I think about my journey in the ACE Club, starting out as a sophomore, especially in the midst of the COVID pandemic, we had so much free time, you know? We had classes, we were on our computers, and we were like, you know, I don't really want to learn about geometry right now. Like, what can I do on the side? And so I started talking with my friends, just being like, you know, we have ACE Club, we've been doing these, we started out with a project where we took a survey of the Masco community, and we were like, what's, like, we wanted to represent the different ethnicities around our school because we saw all of these faces, and we were like, well, we want to celebrate where you've come from and how you've really internalized your self-identity. And so after seeing the results of that, we were like, we can do this. Like, this is possible. And we saw a physical product. It was a map of all the flags of the different countries that people, of their nationalities, and we saw the Masco arrowhead on it, and so we really just wanted to see more and more of that change. We want to see it, and so we just had such a drive to keep going, and we're still doing that, especially with these bigger events, like opening for Dr. Henry Turner, and having these Juneteenth events, collaborating with other Amity groups, not just in our local Masco community, but also in other surrounding schools. And so I just really feel like identity is something we find so much pride in, you know? Like I mentioned, I'm proud to be Cameroonian American. I'm proud to be a Black girl who's going off to college next year. I'm proud to be the vice president of our ACE Club. And I want other youth to see that you can have something to be proud of, and it doesn't have to be in the midst of a group that you want to assimilate into. You can stand out, you can find pride in it, and you can find a community that is going to take pride in your pride, right? So I feel like what a future looks like to me with the relevance of Black activism, not only today, but in history, it looks like self-identity that's accessed through our community and taking pride in our history that may or may not be known.